Where is Laughtale, and by extension, the One Piece? That's a question that's been plaguing One Piece fans for decades. Also, just to be safe, this is not a 101 Piece episode, so there will be spoilers. Watch at your own risk. I recently had an idea that makes a lot of sense. Many people will tell you that it's just at the end of the Grand Line, because Crocus said that all paths converge at the end of the Grand Line, and the last island is Laughtale. But we learn on Zoe that the island at the end of the Grand Line, in that sense, is Lodestar, which just explains the poneglyphs and how to find Laughtale. It being the last island of the Grand Line is more symbolic, not necessarily geographic. It's the last island you'll get to. It's the goal of sailing the Grand Line. It's what you want to get to at the end of your journey on the Grand Line. So first, let's answer the question about what Lodestar will tell you. How do you find Laughtale? In short, each of the 4 road poneglyphs describes a location. Draw lines in between those locations, and Laughtale is where those lines intersect. A lot of people think that, oh, well, you could just get 2 of them then, and then it'll be the line in the middle. But you could have the other 2 be anywhere along that line. It doesn't really help. I mean, it helps a lot, but it's still going to be somewhere across that line, and how thick that line is, who knows? You want that point, not the entire line. But anyways, I guess it could still be at the end, beyond Lodestar, but probably not. Where would the poneglyphs point to that would result in the lines crossing at some point past Lodestar? Like maybe a couple on some points on the red line or something, or maybe on, in Paradise crossing over the red line? I don't think so. Beyond that, though, the biggest thing that I've never really understood is how knowing those 4 islands or locations would help. You can't navigate the Grand Line using traditional means, so there's no real way to make a truly accurate map from the sea. It would be a lot like trying to cut a pizza with the whirlpool filter. You may have seen those videos. Super helpful. If you had a satellite or some kind of giant floating super weapon, sure, as if that would even exist anyways. But that isn't going to help pirates or random it's only going to help the people really in control, and that's what Joy Boy seemed to want to avoid. But you can navigate normally in the 4 blues. So those maps can be quite accurate. So it would make sense if those locations the road poneglyphs point to were outside the Grand Line. In that case, you could make the cross and navigate to that point easily. But it would still be pretty rough if it were on the Grand Line. It would definitely narrow down the area, but finding your way to that area, pizza in a whirlpool filter. So where else is there? You could have it in the 4 blues, but I feel like it would have shown up in that case. Might it be in the Calm Belt? Why not? Why else would Roger have been there to find Ruskaina? That's quite the detour, no? Well, not if he was there searching for the hidden island. It would also help explain why nobody's found it. In the 4 blues, people are just navigating all over the place, making maps. Of course they would have found it. It's not going to be in the 4 blues. And in the Grand Line, people are, going back and forth. If the only way to navigate were with the standard log pose, so you have effectively set routes, it might be less likely, but you also have eternal poses. You could go to any point and then go a fairly straight line directly to somewhere else. Not straight enough to make a nice map, but people would have crossed just about every inch of that sea. Back when we thought it was Raftel, you could explain it with the raft theory. It's not there until you're there to find it, floating up to the surface when you've satisfied some condition. But from what we've seen, it's just another normal-looking island, maybe surrounded by a perpetual storm. If you have people searching for this mysterious island, just zooping back and forth on the Grand Line, and then they find an island that no log pose is reacting to, that's suspicious. That's weird. It's gonna be searched. and they're gonna find stuff. Roger wasn't in some fancy cave deep in the depths or something. He needed to be told how to navigate down there. He was just out in the sunlight. There was something that his entire crew was reading at the same time. It's not going to be hard to find when you get on the island. And if you find an island as suspicious as that, you're going to search the entire island and you're going to find whatever he was reading. But if it were on the comm belt, just another island that a log post doesn't react to, that's pretty normal. And you're just stopping by to rest. If you're stopping at all. You're probably just on a mission to get through the comm belt. You're not going to be sitting there exploring every island that you come across. Tearing down the red line is a big theory to make the world one piece. You have Marie-Joie, Fishman Island, and Reverse Mountain on the Grand Line. Lots of places of interest there. But you still need to get rid of the comm belt. Or belts, more accurately. Otherwise, rather than one piece, you would have the 3-piece. Maybe the existence of the red line creates the comm belt somehow, but maybe if Laughtale is on the comm belt, that's how it's being generated. At least that one. There might be another one somewhere else, and that could be all explained on Laughtale. Now, before I end this, let's go back to Ruskaina for a minute. What are the chances of normal people washing up onto Ruskaina from one of the adjacent oceans to settle and create the settlement that became those ruins that we saw there, that Rayleigh mentioned? Seems like a lot of drifting. Through the comm belt. Maybe instead, they were refugees of some sort from the ancient kingdom and or Laughtale itself. If Laughtale's in the general vicinity, and that's the reason that Roger was exploring there, it would make sense for them to go to a nearby island. And be able to get to a nearby island. But more importantly, if the world government had the Red Line as their base of operations, what if their enemy sat in the comm belt? The mirror image of the Red Line. Another, arguably equally, if not more defensible location. So I don't normally do theory videos on this channel. It's more of taking things that people don't really like, right now focusing on One Piece and trying to put a positive spin on it. I also have one on One Piece. But this idea, I really felt like I needed to talk about it, so I actually came up with the idea when I was doing the geography video. So, yeah.